Please listen carefully.
Right, welcome to Clubmen 1645, and today we're in Wiltshire and we're just outside Devizes in the village of Lavington, and we've just come out to look at the manor house here in Lavington because in 1645 this was owned by Sir John Danvers, and Sir John Danvers is one of the men who signed the death warrant for Charles I, and he brought over an Italian style garden to this country as well, and there's a lovely Italian style garden behind that house, but we can't get near it because it's a private school now and it's Dauncey School. But back in 1645 Mr Merryweather lived at this house, and he was put upon by some royalist troops which was set out from Devizes by Sir Charles Lloyd because they wanted to furnish the garrison that was at Devizes Castle, and they appeared on Mr Merryweather's doorstep, and the account states, with the royalists at the door, Mr Merryweather took flight in haste to the top of the house to send warning to the surrounding towns and villages. In hand, as he reached the top of the house, he held a pestle and pan. With this, he beat the pan with the pestle, causing much alarm to great many in the village. On hearing this, the villagers took to ring the market bell. With now the market bell ringing, other towns and villages in the area took to ringing their church and market bells also, which caused the summoning of a great number of clubmen, yes, clubmen, to gather in defence of one another and against an action of plunder upon them and Mr Merryweather. With 1,000 clubmen now gathered, they took it upon themselves to head to Devizes. On arrival, they put to the Governor Lloyd they would tolerate no plunder by any Parliament or royalist alike. So he ran to the top of this house here, top window. We don't know which one. I wish I could get closer to the house so we could have a look, but we can't. And with that, the bells rang across the county, and they gathered the clubmen and they all set off to Devizes to see Sir Charles Lloyd. Now, Sir Charles Lloyd was a bit of a hand building castles and things. He was the royal engineer and he built great defences, and Cromwell quite admired him. But Cromwell later on turned up in Devizes and took over the garrison, I think it was defended by Welsh troops then, and set the castle to the people of Devizes, who dismantled it and used the stone. There's a nice book you can get at Devizes Museum, and it's called Devizes in the Civil War, and it's by Lorna Haycock, and it's £2.95, so it's worth getting a copy of this because it actually talks about some of the plundering and pillaging that was going around the county of Wiltshire and round Devizes at the time. And we mentioned this letter was wrote by E.K. Brown and back in Abbotsbury when we talk about the Earl of Shaftesbury, but it's worth reading out the passage again because it's such a good passage, and it describes the monies being paid and the loss of food that was being taken to the garrisons by the soldiers. With the writing to a relative in London on the 9th of June 1645, E.K. Bronham described how the king's soldiers were about our country, where our misery is such that we are forced to pay their monies to eat up our provisions of victuals, oats, hay and such like. For we must allow every common soldier 6 pence by the day, besides diet, 12 pence per sergeant, and 18 pence to lieutenants and captains. When these troubles of quartering, billeting and plundering will cease, I know not. And there's also an account of the tithings of Roundway, Wick and Nursteed and Bedborough, which protested in 1644 that they were disabled by being so much plundered that they were not able to relieve their own poor.
Gather the afternoon into my glass. I got 100 proofs, a symbol to crack that repeatable pattern on me. Terrible art, seasonal hazards.
Okay, well we popped into Devizes and we're in front of the Crammer here, where the, some say, the legend of the Moonmakers originated from. Where they were raking here, the smugglers, and they asked them what they were doing, and they said they were raking the moon out of the lake, hence the Wiltshire Moonmakers. But we popped in here to talk about some bits in the Civil War related to the Clubmen. We've just been to at Lavington, and behind me here is St James, which we shall talk about in a minute when we get over there. And behind me is Devizes Castle, where Sir Charles Lloyd fortified, and then we're going to pop out to Roundway Down and just do a little backdrop piece there, because that was obviously related with the Civil War soldiers. But all this is related to the Clubmen who later on in 1645 came to town and told Sir Charles Lloyd. Well, here we are at St James's Church in Devizes, and I wanted to stop here quickly. Nothing to do with the Clubmen, but in 1643 the cannonball from the Parliamentarian forces went through the turret of this church. And if Sheila pans up, you can see the cannonball hole, I believe. Can you see it?
Just about, right in the middle of there. Yeah.
Okay. So, nothing to do with the Clubmen, but of the Civil War itself. And this is an extremely noisy spot because we're right in the middle of a road junction here. So we're going to move on somewhere a bit quieter. Okay? Well, here we are at the location in Devizes of Devizes Castle, and it's behind me, and this is where Sir Charles Lloyd would have been stationed after he fortified it, and where he sent the dragoons out to Lavington to Mr Merryweather at the time, at that manor house we've just been to plunder as such, to buy provisions, to get provisions for the castle, which would have been stood here. This has been rebuilt obviously because, as I mentioned before, all the stone was taken away by the people of Devizes when Cromwell took the castle.
I was a bronze retriever, asleep at the door, dreaming of other dreamers, tongue on the floor. Let's meet on a lazy river and go with the flow.
Right, here we are at Roundway Down, and we've left Devizes, where we talked about St James's Church in 1643, where the cannonball went through the turret, and we talked about 1644, where Sir Charles Lloyd fortified the castle there. In 1645 the Clubmen met Sir Charles Lloyd in Devizes Castle and told them about their grievances about the plunder in the area of Wiltshire. But behind me now is Roundway Down, when in 1643 obviously the battle with the Parliamentarians took place against the Royalists, and William Wallace's troops were routed here in a very, very chaotic battle. But keep an eye on the Clubmen's site. 1645, work in progress.
Are we going to walk up there?
Yeah, okay.
Shall
Can't wait to get up there.
Not today.
But there's no Clubmen up there, Sheila, there's no point.
Oh, okay. All right then.
No, we're going to have a look. We're going to have a look. Let's go and have a look. I'm not sure where the battle took place, actually. But the light there is fantastic today, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yes.
And did you want to say anything about Palm Sunday as we're here?
No, not really.
Okay. Sheila was going to have a little chat about Palm Sunday because of the
Goat willows.
goat willows.
But we haven't found any goat willows.
No, there's no goat
So
willows.
I can't tell the story really unless I've found some goat willow.
It's a long winter this winter.
Yes.
And nothing seems to have
Yeah.
happened yet.
Yeah.
Still waiting for spring to happen.
Yes.
Which is obviously we're at the end of spring now, and this is into summer. But
Yeah, British summertime.
Um,
But if we found some goat willows, we would talk about. Let me come around the other side of the camera.
I'll move out of the way.
Yeah.
No, I won't. I'll stay
Yeah,
here.
yeah, you stay here with me. Move along, move down the bus, move down the bus. Yeah, no. We were hoping to find some goat willows because today is Palm Sunday, and traditionally you would pick some goat willow on Palm Sunday and then leave it until Easter Sunday on the altar of your local church, and then or take some home, and it's meant to ward off evil spirits or used for mediation. You would go and give it to someone, it's like handing out an olive branch. You hand out a piece of goat willow if you feel you've had a bit of an argument with someone and you need to heal some wounds. You give them a bit of goat willow, and it's meant, like, you know, put it all to rest, put it all behind you. It's like the olive branch, but it's our equivalent.
Got it in the end.
I got there in the end. That's a very long-winded story,
Yeah.
and I think Hayden might cut a lot of that out. But as soon as we didn't find any goat
I
willow,
waffle on.
yeah, that's right. But yeah, we've had a long winter, and it's an early Easter, so
Yes.
we haven't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure goat willow's out. We haven't been near any water yet, so
No.
you know.
So there you go. That's Go it and get
today.
goat willow. Welcome to Clubmen. No. Keep an eye on Clubmen 1645. Work in progress.